Hey guys, welcome to Red 50. Thank you for tuning into another video. If you're new to the channel, thank you for stopping by. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. So in today's video, we've got a 2020 Mustang Ecoboost that we're going to be learning how to use the paddle shifters. Paddle shifters in Mustang has been a welcome addition, and the best part about it is all standard. You don't need an optional performance pack or any of that. It's going to come standard on all of your S550 Mustangs, which start from 2015 and up. And if you've got a Mustang Ecoboost, we're going to learn how to use the pedal shifters in this video. So in this video, we're going to be looking at how to upshift the Mustang Ecoboost using the pedal shifters, how to downshift using the pedal shifters, and how to stay in power band to maximize the power on your Mustang Ecoboost. And we will also look at the difference between drive and sport and how it impacts the pedal shifters. With that being said, let's dive right into the video. Okay, so now we're in the interior of the Mustang Ecoboost, and let's look at the steering wheel. So we've obviously got two paddle shifters. One is mounted to your left, which is your minus, aka downshift. The other one is here, which is plus, aka upshift. So this is your steering wheel. We're going to be looking at how you can use the paddle shifter. And to upshift, you are going to pull this plus against you, paddle shifter, so I can show it to you here. And same goes for the downshifting. You're going to pull this against you. There we go. So it's going to upshift and downshift accordingly. So first off, for the basic, let's see how high you can take the RPMs without messing up anything in your car. So since this is a Mustang Ecoboost, a 2020 Mustang Ecoboost, let's take a look at the red line. So as you see, the red line here is 6,500 RPM. So you want to make sure you don't exceed 6,500 RPM when you're upshifting or downshifting. When you're upshifting, your RPM is obviously going to come down, so you want to have to shift before 6,500. But when you're downshifting, your RPM shoots up. So you want to make sure when you're downshifting, if you're at 5,000, for example, you don't want to downshift and shoot the RPMs up to like 7,000, which could cause some serious engine damage. Luckily, Ford has implemented some safety features within the Mustang, so the computer in your Mustang Ecoboost is going to try to protect itself. So if you do forget to upshift, for example, and you cross 6,500 RPM, it's going to cut off the fuel and let you come back in. And if you're downshifting, your RPM is going to shoot above the 6,500 RPM, the red line that we earlier discussed. That's going to deny you the shift, making sure that the RPMs don't exceed the red line. In my opinion, the paddle shifter in the Mustang Ecoboost can be a very exciting way to use them. It makes the car ownership so much fun, especially if you're in back roads, just having control of your RPM and shifting however you want to, instead of letting the computer take care of it. This one is equipped with a 10-speed automatic transmission, so obviously you need to have the automatic transmission to use the paddle shifters. So we've got a 10-speed automatic transmission that has actually a better paddle shifter response than what you got with the older 6R80 automatic transmission. Okay, so when you try to upshift, for starters, just as you're learning and you want to make sure you're not over revving your engine, let's try upshifting around 3,000, 3,500 RPM or so, just so you get a hang of it. If you've never driven in a manual car or a paddle shifter equipped car, don't be afraid to actually take out the RPM much higher. But for starters, we're going to start with 3,500 or so. But if you're shifting at 5,000 RPM or so, then that's really not going to be an issue. One thing I want to point out with the Ecoboost, that unfortunately, even though the red line is 6,500 RPM and you can shift up until 6,500 RPM without any problem, the power kind of dies down after 5,500 RPM. This is a turbo 4 engine, so it tries to make the power between 2,000 to 5,500 or so. After that, it kind of feels very flat and just doesn't seem to be picking up on power. So I suggest if you're having fun and you want to stay in the power band, you shift around 5,500 RPM. And now let's take a look at some of the upshifting examples using the paddle shifters on your Mustang Ecoboost. Okay, now as you saw, that was pretty easy to do, nothing complicated. Once you get a hang of it, of course, you can increase the 3,500 line that I am recommending to 4,000, 4,500, 5,000, depending on how much fun you want to have with your Mustang Ecoboost. Now let's talk about downshifting. Like we said, downshifting shoots up your RPM, so you want to make sure that your downshifting is not going to cause you to pass a red line. So for downshifting, let's use the 3,000 benchmark as well. A little bit less because I want to make sure you don't overshoot where your RPMs are like 6,000 or so. But 3,000 downshifting should get you about 3,500 depending on the gear. Could be 4,000. So I think 3,000 RPM should be pretty decent in terms of downshifting. So let's start with that, and once you kind of get a hang of it, you can definitely increase and downshift around 4,000. Like I said, if you do downshift and your downshifting is going to result in your RPM to shoot way above the red line, the computer is going to deny you the shift, so you shouldn't be afraid to downshift and have some fun in your Mustang Ecoboost. And now, let's take a look at some of the examples for downshifting. As you saw, downshifting was very simple as well. It actually is very fun to downshift and enjoy the car a lot more because you're able to stay in the power band and just have some fun on the back roads, or if you go into Mexico. So like you saw from this clips, downshifting and upshifting overall is a very simple process. You just need to kind of get a hang of it and how to use it. And once you kind of get a hang of it, what the RPM does, how your engine is acting as you're going through those RPMs, you're going to be a lot more confident, and you can pretty much feel free to downshift and upshift at whatever RPM you want, as long as before 6,500, so you don't mess up your Mustang Ecoboost engine, making a Mustang Eco boom. Now I want to also highlight some of the difference between drive and sports selector as it relates to your paddle shifters. So here's our shifter. If you select this in drive, so we'll do that, versus sport, there's a difference in how the paddle shifter is going to operate. Now if you're in drive and you are using your paddle shifters, it's going to select a gear for you, but if you don't hit the paddles in a few more seconds, it's going to think that you just accidentally hit the paddle, so it's going to revert back to automatic shifting without a problem. So this is good for someone who accidentally is just driving and just accidentally taps the paddle and like, oh, I did not want to use the paddle. Then over time it's going to detect it and change it up for you. But if you're in sport and you do the same thing, it's going to give you full manual control. So it's very good if you really want a full manual control, no computer interference, to use the sport mode and then use the paddle shifters. But if you are someone who's still new, I would suggest using drive. So if you forget about paddle shifters and you're coming to if you come into a red light stop or something, the computer's going to take over and let it do its own thing. Like I've said before, the computer is always going to try to protect your Mustang Ecoboost so you're not over revving your engine and running into any trouble. So definitely enjoy the paddle shifters, use it to its full potential. In my opinion, it makes the Mustang Ecoboost drive so much better than what it would just automatic shifting. So I highly recommend you using the paddle shifters. I hope this tutorial helped you, and if it did, make sure you smash that like button and comment below what you think of the paddle shifters in a Mustang. And as always, subscribe to Red 50 for more Mustang content.